provide various ethnic groups as well as a means of communication between regional countries. International Indonesian also has a position of the official state language, delivery of education, national level communication, development of national cultures and knowledge, technology, art, and the language of the mass media. Internationalization of Indonesian language to modernize the language to increase the vocabulary, training, and standardizing the language, developing language tuning, as well as seeking to increase tuning, as well as seeking to increase the function of Indonesian as an international language. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesian is studied by many foreign citizens and indication the Indonesian is starting to be exempted. Indonesian is the high stress of foreigners in studying Indonesian and Indonesian language learning. Centered in the countries, for example, in large countries such as Europe, Japan, United States. Approved by Soldam Houses, head of the Indonesian language study program stated the Indonesian has the potential to become an Indonesian language. Because of the large number of Indonesian speakers, especially in the Malaysian dictionary is Indonesian apart from the deputy net of Asian language and culture from the Association of Professional Asian Language and culture from the Association of Process of the National Institute of Education, Singapore. Haji Ben Rahmat believe the Indonesian has the opportunity to become the Indonesian language alongside English because there are around 400 million speakers spread across 156 countries. Indonesia. That's all. Thank you.
Terima kasih. Sekarang waktunya pembicara pertama tim kontra menyampaikan argumen ketidaksetujuan terhadap mosi perdebatan.
Okay, thank you. We as a counterparty disagree with the statement the reasons is to become an international language. The language must be used in diplomacy, international trade, and diplomacy measure. Role in the dissemination of change. While in reality Indonesia has not been used for all of that. Okay, next. Apart from all that, another requirement to become a world language is that the owner must have confidence and care about his our language. But unfortunately, now the next generation of the nation is less concerned about its own language. It can be seen from the low follow of the result of the Indonesian national exam at the present time which is very low. Will Indonesian people dream to use their respective regional language, and Indonesian people are more prone if they master foreign language, and many Indonesia are still literate. Okay, next. According to Muspedia.blogspot.com, Indonesia is not among the top 5 major languages spoken in the world. Even Indonesia ranks as the 3 most difficult language in the world and 15 in the world. Another reason is that Indonesia is not a colonizing country. Even history, it is recorded that Indonesia was colonized the most often and the longest. Will the international language use comes from a country that often colonized other countries. Okay. Could Indonesia become an international language? Of course, it is not feasible because there must be many conditions that must be met when a language wants to be made an international language. The requirements include, among others, that the language is already recorded in the international, The science and technology is strong. The military is strong. Basic, the Indonesia doesn't fulfill all of that. How doesn't Indonesia? How does it?
Waktunya
Okay,
selesai.
thank you.
Waktunya bicara ke tim pro untuk mempertahankan argumen. Waktunya 3 menit dari sekarang.
Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, here we strongly agree with our debate mission today, namely the internationalization of the Indonesian language. As we know, Indonesian is the language that unifies the nation. And Indonesian also function as national identity. In Article 3.2, Paragraph 1, Law Number 24, Law Number 24 years 2009 explains that Indonesian must be used in.
Okay.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
POI.
No, thank you.
POI.
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, he will disagree with your opinion because if in Indonesia itself, the pronunciation has not been.
POI.
Please wait. Able to use
POI.
it and please wait. Or regional language or maximum foreign language. Then if it's how you want to continue to be an international language, it makes sense, right? Think about it.
POI. Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia has the opportunity to become an international language because Indonesia has a level of words that are easy to understand. Indonesian is the official language of the United States of the Republic of Indonesia. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yes, please.
Okay, as a counterparty, I strongly disagree with this effort because of their requirement of a language that wants to be made in international language. But it's difficult with Indonesia, which is even in the international language. Okay, thank you.
Okay, but here we really agree with the internationalization of Indonesian because it can help you when communicating with someone. Because Indonesian is the unifying language of the Indonesian nation.
PIO. Okay. As we already know, on the other one hand, the government fighting to make Indonesian an international language. While on the other hand, its people still use local language and even learn foreign language. So how can they want to make Indonesian an international language? We can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. International Indonesian Youth has a position as the official state language delivery of education, national level communication, development of national cultural knowledge, technology, art, and the language of the mass media. Internationalization of the Indonesian language to modernize the language to include.
PI, please.
No, thank you. Yes, please.
Okay, I emphasize again that we don't agree with this motion because it can be seen that the Indonesian people alone don't 100% master Indonesian language properly and correctly. We can see it from the low exam scores in the Indonesian language subjects. You can imagine if your own country, the value of Indonesian is low.
POI.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, hear me. They really agree because Indonesian has the opportunity to become an international language is because Indonesian has a level of words that are easy to understand. Indonesian is the official language of the Unity States of the Republic of Indonesian nation. Indonesian was inaugurated of the national language after Indonesian declares its independence. Recently, when the continuation was cried.
There, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Okay, according to maspedia.blogspot.com, Indonesian is not among the top 5 major languages in the world. Even Indonesia ranks as the 3 most difficult language in the world and 15 in the Asia and 15 in the world.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, but here we really agree with the internationalization of the Indonesian language. As we know, Indonesian is a language that Indonesian people must know, because Indonesia is the unifying language of the Indonesian nation and the region. For example, when we enter the global community, we will definitely
POI, please, POI. Okay, here I'm emphasize again. Okay, it can be seen that the Indonesian people are don't 100%. Okay, don't 100% master Indonesian language properly and correctly. We can see it from the low exam scores in Indonesian language subjects.
POI.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, agree because Prof. Bato Demhaus, head of the Indonesian language study program, states the Indonesian has the potential to become an international language. State the Indonesian has the potential of Indonesian speakers, especially in the Malay region, because most of the vocabulary contained in the Big Malay Dictionary of Indonesian. Apart for the independent needs of Asian language and culture from the Association of Professors and the National Institute of Education Singapore, heads Bet Rahmat believe the Indonesian has the opportunity to become an international language alongside.
PI, please.
Yes, please.
Okay, and then if you think again that Indonesian is create demand of other countries, you can emphasize that these countries don't necessarily value Indonesian as an international language, and there are also many other countries that don't know about Indonesian.
POI.
Wait, even though everything about Indonesian. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Responding from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Indonesian Wikipedia is now ranked 25 out of 250 foreign language Wikipedia in the world. Meanwhile, at the SI level, Indonesian is in third, playing after Japan and Malaysia. Not only that, Indonesian has even been designated as the second official language in Vietnam and is the fourth most popular language in...
PIO.
Sorry, I haven't finished talking. Can you wait?
PIO.
Yes.
Okay, here I emphasize again, okay? And then if you think again that Indonesian is great demand on other countries, you emphasize that these countries don't necessarily with Indonesian an international language. And there are also many other countries that don't know about Indonesian language and don't even know everything about Indonesian. So the least among the interest in learning Indonesian doesn't worth it.
Biar
Indonesian
panas
will
hari
become
ini,
an international language.
setelah ini pembicara kedua di sana masih habis ini langsung pembicara kedua di
But here we really agree with the internationalization of the Indonesian language. As we know, Indonesian is a language the Indonesian people must know, because Indonesia is the unifying language of the Indonesian.
No, please, PIO. Okay,
POI.
strong disagree with this motion. Because making it difficult to develop Indonesian language to the international level. Secondly, Indonesian people don't...
International Indonesian. Also, hey, position. POI. Industry of International language to modernize the language, to increase the vocabulary, security, and standardizing the language system, developing language tuning, as well as seeking to increase tuning, as well.
Please.
Yes, please.
Okay, so once again, actually, we strongly agree with this motion because firstly, Indonesia still has a low quality human resources, making it difficult to develop Indonesian language and the international level. Secondly, Indonesian people don't confident tend to consider foreign language as having higher social prestige. And lastly, in addition to foreign language, Indonesian people
POI.
also people are also still beyond their respective regional language.
POI.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Internationalization of the Indonesian language is an effort made by this university to increase the involvement in international scale activities. The second Youth Congress from the 27th to the 20th of October 1928 was in the Indonesian Malay South for the unity of tribes as group, and the SBA has agreed to form unity with the framework of one linguistic nation known as Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, international Indonesian language is a true manifestation rooted in history of the nation's strength, unity in spiritual difference.
Please, PIO.
Yes, please.
Okay, as we already know, on the other hand, the government is fighting to make Indonesian an international language, while on the other hand, its people still use local language and even learn foreign language. It's so how we can to make Indonesian an international language. We can think about this. So what do you think about this? Okay, for example,
Saya ada omong
for a way as a real evidence and
POI,
no, thank you. Masih use
POI.
okay.
Indonesia Delegate of Instansi South Asia, the Ministry
Dia kurang ngomong.
of Education and Cultural Usage, say a target there by 2045. Indonesia, yes please.
Okay, for example here, okay. It's not for a way as already audience in school alone, the students mostly the local language, especially the Javanese language in communicating. Well, that effect they use as good and correct Indonesian and
Indonesia needs the opportunity to become an international language is because Indonesia has a lot of the words that are no thank you, no thank you.
I haven't finished in my statement, okay?
Indonesia has the opportunity. So no thank you, no thank you. I tell the international language is equal to no thank you, no thank you.
Yeah,
Yes please.
okay, in addition, making Indonesian as international language requires the ability of qualified human resources to applicate science and technology. Meanwhile, Indonesian human resources have to be able to
Inten
government, no thank you, the government problems such as the amount of debate, corruption cases. If it's not
POI.
solved,
POI.
okay?
Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Internationalization of language language to modernize the language to increase and vocabulary changing and standardizing the language system, developing language tuning as we are seeking to English tuning as we seeking to English the function of Indonesian.
PIO?
No, thank you. Indonesian study.
PIO?
Yes, please.
Okay, then besides having to be a language of the spirit of science and other, I would recommend to become a word language that is must have confidence, care, and pride. In its own language, but unfortunately, now the next generation of the
POI.
nation now takes and foreign language.
POI. Ladies and gentlemen, they will really agree because international language based on industry, Ministry of Education and Culture Nadia Makari.
Okay, no. I don't disagree with your First of all,
Internationalization. Internationalization of the Indonesian.
I have to finish my argument.
Yes.
You're listening. Okay, for example, in school, must be communication in your language, especially Javan language.
POI.
Thank you. Indonesian language, including me, okay? And
Okay.
because of that, most students here are difficult to use good and correct Indonesian. For example, in Indonesian lesson alone, the subject teacher
Yang kiri
experience
kanan dong buat apa? Yang kiri kanan.
complaints because the student didn't understand the meaning of the reading.
POI.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Indonesian language, national language after Indonesian decades its independence, precisely when the constitution was created of August 18, 1945. The provincial state in the 1945. No, thank you. Constitution acted. No, thank you.
PIO,
Yes, please.
can you give me factual fact?
Okay. Okay, Indonesian language of instruction is South Asia, the Ministry of Education and Culture has we say a target Wikipedia and
No Wikipedia in here school.
a profile of the analysis as of the
Sehari-hari. Minta buktinya apa dalam kehidupan sehari-hari di sekolah?
Jangan terjemahkan. Nanti orang
Okay.
dia diterjemahkan.
Sorry. Okay, here we strongly agree with our debate motion today. with the international of the Indonesian language. As we know, Indonesian is the language that unifies the nation, and Indonesian music functions as national identity in Article 32, Paragraph 1, Law number 24, Law number 24 year 2009, especially the Indonesian must be used in national form or international form or Indonesian.
Okay. I give you example in here, in factual, in the proof in here. In the school, most the communication or use regional language, especially Jawa language, okay, or mix Indonesian with regional language, and because of that, most students here are difficult to use good and correct Indonesian. For example, in Indonesian literature alone, the subject of teacher experience, this is teacher experience, complain because his student didn't understand the meaning of the reading. Well, this has become evidence that the level of understanding of Indonesian for the Indonesian people themselves is very low. And then, how you want to make Indonesian an international language? Not to be well in your own country, the understanding of Indonesian. Yes.
Sorry for the interruption. Sister, is Indonesian a language that must be used and learned by all Indonesian people? Question.
Can you say once again? I cannot hear. I cannot understand what your pronunciation. Can you say once again?
Is Indonesian a language that must be used and learned by all Indonesian people?
Nanti masih ada pilihan kedua dari negatif untuk debat lagi.
Waktunya selesai. Sekarang waktunya pembicara kedua tim kontra mempertahankan argumen. Waktunya mulai dari sekarang.
Okay, the strongly disagrees with this motion because firstly Indonesians have a low quality human resources, making it difficult to calculate Indonesian language to be international level. Secondly, Indonesian people doesn't confident and can to consider foreign language as having higher social prestige. And lastly, in addition to the foreign language, Indonesian people are also still bound by their respective regional language, which affect the use of good and correct Indonesian. We don't intend to demonize the Indonesian language, but in our opinion, to make Indonesian as an international language is very impossible. The reason is that to become an international language, the language must be used in diplomatic and international trade, and also play a big role in the spread of knowledge. Meanwhile, in reality, Indonesia hasn't been used in diplomacy and world trade, especially in the spread of knowledge. Okay, next, besides having to be the language of the spread of science and others, another requirement to become a world language is that its owner must have confident, care and pride in its own language. But unfortunately, now the next generation in the nation is less concerned about his own language and students to use their respective regional language and foreign language. Foreign language in communication. For example, in the school, most of the communication is regional languages, especially Jawa language or Javanese, or mixed Indonesian regionals, including me. And because of that, most students here are difficult to use good and correct Indonesian. For example, in Indonesian lesson alone, the subject, the teacher experience complaints because his student. No, please. No, thank you. Complaints because the student don't understand the meaning of it. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay, thank you so much. Internationalization of the Indonesian language is a effort made by these universities to increase employment. International Indonesian music has a position as the official state language, the value of education, national level communication, development of national cultures and knowledge, technology, and the language of the mass media. Indonesian is studied by many foreign citizens, and indication the Indonesian is starting to be exempted internationally in the high strength of foreigners is studying Indonesian and Indian language learning center. Yes, please.
In addition, making Indonesian as international language requires the ability of qualified human resources to advance the country in science and technology. While Indonesian human resources haven't been able to overcome government problems such as uncure wage, corruption, caste. If it hasn't been resolved, the internationalization of the Indonesian language is just a dream.
But here we exercise that we strongly agree with the existence of here we strongly agree with our debate mission today, namely the internationalization.
You agree and I don't agree with this motion. Because what? It is true that Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world. But the fact is that not all Indonesians can speak Indonesian language. For example, most of the old people here cannot speak Indonesian because they are only born to one language. No thanks. Well, as the population in Indonesia in our region often use their respective interregional language rather than the language of the country, namely Indonesian. Give respect. Okay.
Thank you. I agree. International language based on this history, Ministry of Education currently. Many linguists of are the opinion the Indonesian has enormous potential to become an international language, a language used in international forums. In fact, James
Okay, PIO. No other country.
No, thank you.
No other country.
Yes,
Like
please.
Indonesian must still be international language, not other country. Okay. Not other country. The same.
I agree. Indonesia has been designated as the second official language in Vietnam and is the fourth most popular language in Australia. This shows the Indonesian is not only popular in Indonesia but is used popular in countries
Okay, PIO.
Yes,
And if you think the Indonesian language is very easy to understand or in Australia, you're wrong. That affects the And if you think again, the Indonesian is great demand of the countries. Here I emphasize that these countries do not necessarily win Indonesian as an international language, and there are also many other countries that don't know about Indonesian language and don't even know everything about Indonesian. So the least amount of interest in learning Indonesian doesn't worthy that Indonesian will become an international language. What do you think about this?
Habis. And
As we know, Indonesian is the language that unifies the nation, and Indonesian also function of as nation identity. In Article 324, paragraph 1, law number 2 for law number 2 for years 2009 explains that Indonesian must be used in national forum or international forum in Indonesian. But here we really agree with the internationalization of Indonesian because it can help use when communicating with someone. Because Indonesian is the unifying language of the Indonesian nation.
Not
Yes,
always.
please.
Okay, not always. According to humanspedia.blogspot.com, Indonesia is not among the top 5 major. Or not always the other countries to think same about your opinions. And could Indonesian become an international language? Of course, it's possible because there must be many conditions with me. Because when a language wants to be made an international language, the requirement include among others that the language is ready resounded internationally. The science and technology is strong. The military is not strong. The visa and Indonesia doesn't fulfill and all of that. How close Indonesia?
Waktunya selesai. Sekarang waktunya pembicara ketiga dari tim Prof untuk memperkuat dan mempertahankan argumen. Waktunya mulai dari sekarang 3 menit.
Okay, thank you. But here we really agree with the of the Indonesian language. As we know, Indonesian is a language that Indonesian people must know because Indonesian is the unique language of the Indonesian nation and the region. For example, when we after the global community, we will definitely as Indonesian. It is impossible for us to as regional language. That's all. Thank you.
Masih ada waktu.
According to experts, according to the Al-Harid dan Ismandi, internal legend of the Indonesian language, that in the unity groups in the archipelago region who have agreed to form unit within an homeland of nation, namely Indonesia. That's all. Thank you.
Masih ada waktu? Pas? Pas. Terima kasih. Sekarang waktunya pembicara ketiga dari tim kontra untuk mempertahankan argumen.
I am not sure about this motion, and here I agree Indonesian is no with the opinion that my friend has said that Indonesian has no chance on becoming an international language because the level knowledge it's all people it's still very low that alone was to be no be the use of regional language is still very much student they are the difficult to use Indonesian currently. And there are also those who mix Indonesian language with English or regional language that reduce language rules. So how can Indonesian it's the very low and it's very impossible to be used by their will like I dreamed it never happened. Thank you.
Pas. Waktunya pembicara pertama atau kedua dari tim pro menyampaikan kesimpulan. Waktunya 30 menit dari sekarang.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Here we emphasize that we strongly agree with the internationalization of the Indonesian language because Article 32, Paragraph 1 of Law Number 2 of the year 2009 explains that Indonesian language must be used in national forum, in international forum in Indonesia. Implication for this article is that all Indonesian people has the same obligation to ask Indonesian in every forum, but scientific forum and non-scientific forums. Because Indonesian it means as national identity, not identity, means of unifying various ethnic groups and a means of communication between regions and between cultures. That's all. Thank you.